Good afternoon and welcome to another New Hanover County Schools Labs with Librarian Professional Development. Today we are so excited to welcome Dr. Heather Moorefield-Lang, who's going to talk to us about the best websites and apps to use in your school library. Heather, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself and take over because they're not here to see me. They are here to see you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sure they get to see you quite a bit as well, so that's an awesome county to be in. So, well, thank you so much for having me, and thanks so much for coming to see me when I come to NCS LMA. I just sent in my proposals for NCS LMA for 2015, and so I hope to get to see many of you there in the fall coming up here very soon. So I'm really excited about that. Today, I actually chose to do best websites from the past 4 or so years. I've kind of chosen a big selection. Well, not a big selection. I know I only have a certain amount of time, but I've chosen to do a selection of the past, some favorites of mine from the past 4 years, and I've also chosen a few sites that we are perusing for the best websites for the upcoming lists. So even though this is online, I'm giving you kind of a glimpse of some of the ones that might win for the upcoming year. So just to let you know a little bit about me, my name is, as you've already been told, Heather Moorefield-Lang, and I am now an assistant professor with the School of Library and Information Science at South Carolina, the University of South Carolina in Columbia, South Carolina. And I recently moved here in August, and before that I was at Virginia Tech, where I was the education librarian. And before that, I was in North Carolina, where I was a theater teacher for 5 years, and I was a middle school librarian for 6 years. So I was a middle school theater teacher and a middle school librarian for a total of 11 years. So if I ever seem a little bit zany, it's because I hung out with middle schoolers for 11 years. And then once I graduated with my doctorate, I started working in academia at Virginia Tech and now at South Carolina. Still working with technology integration. I do a lot with best websites. I do a lot with apps and handheld devices. And lately I've been doing a lot of research with makerspaces, subsequent technologies with those makerspaces, and further emerging technologies and how they can work in libraries and in education. And right now I'm talking to you from my office at South Carolina, and if anybody's wondering what's behind me, I can see, you can probably see that hook behind me. That's actually a hook that I use to do like stretching and stuff. So I'm not trying to shepherd sheep in my office. I just wanted to let you know, just so that you are aware. I can see you guys in the room, but you're a little bit pixelated. So I see there's some ladies up front, and I think there's a gentleman on the second row. So hi, and so but folks are a little bit pixelated. So I may have to, I'm going to talk, and then I'll have time for questions. I'll make sure there's time for questions at the end.
Okay, that sounds good. There's about 14 of us here.
Okay.
I have been turning off our mics so that when the door opens and closes, it doesn't distract you. But they all laughed at your jokes, so I didn't want you to think it was dead silent in here when you were joking, okay?
No problem. I'm very used to doing the webinars and seminars. I'm used to kind of just talking to the camera and the screen. I see the glow on people's faces, but that's great if folks are laughing. I appreciate that too. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and share my screen. Oh no, where'd it go? Hold on. Is that showing up?
No, it's not.
Okay, give me just one moment. Let me try that again. It was showing up the last time.
I know it was.
I'm going to, no.
We never have problems with technology here.
Never! Sorry.
That's okay.
I will bring that presentation back up again. Yeah, I had it up, and then I kept playing with it. That's what happened. I kept playing with it, so I was like, yes, up, no, down, no, R. Okay, try it again. And now let's see if it'll let me do it. Now share it.
There it is. Okay.
All right.
There it is.
Okay, so as I said, I'm going to be telling you about best websites and a selection specifically gathered for you with Labs for Librarians. I made sure that this was not a repeat of what I did for the American Association of School Librarians Fall Forum. There's a couple of sites that are a repeat because I have some favorites, but I've made sure that I did not carry too many over because I wanted to make sure that this was fresh. So for those of you, I've kind of already introduced myself. I am Heather Moorefield-Lang. I am a huge Doctor Who fan. Is everybody seeing this okay? Is there any lag time?
You need to put it in presentation mode, I think, Heather.
Oh.
You need to present, because right now we're seeing your, in your actual PowerPoint.
I put it in presentation mode.
We're seeing your notes and everything.
How about now?
No, but now we are on the second slide. You'll have to click on each slide, it feels like, I guess, if you're not, because the presentation thing is not selected at the bottom of the screen for us.
But you're seeing my notes and all those types of things?
Yeah. And the scroll bar on the side with all the slides.
Well, that is so weird.
I know. Well, I mean, it's fine as long as you just click on each slide individually instead of press forward. Because we can see it all right. Y'all can see okay, right? Yeah, well, we can see it okay.
Well, that is so strange.
So you'll have to use your menu to the side.
Right, menu.
Yeah, we see Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But you know, in the bottom right-hand corner where you can zoom the document in and out, the little presentation thing is not clicked for us. I see it just in view mode. See the one on the very end, the other end? There you go. That's the presentation mode. That should present it to us. Nope.
No. I'm sorry.
That's okay. But you can just go through at the top. Just click on the slides at the menu, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So I was going for that. See, I had it in. Well, rats. So when I do that, you're not getting the slideshow.
No.
See, on my screen, I'm seeing. Why do you fail me?
But it's okay. We're fine. As long as we can see the information, it's okay.
I'm looking at my screen share to see if it's any different. I do apologize.
It's okay. But we're really okay if you don't mind just going through that presentation as it was. I just wanted to let you know it wasn't advancing.
Sure. All right, well. So now it's on slide 2?
No, it's on slide 1.
The problem is I don't see what you see. We're seeing two completely different things.
This has never happened before, so.
That is so weird.
I wonder if it's the projector. That's key.
She wouldn't have a projector. No, she's not using a projector for this.
No, this is coming straight from my computer.
So now we're on slide 2.
Right. So, okay. Let me see. Well then, one thing I can do, I suppose. Nope, that's not going to make that. I guess I could do that. Does that make it larger?
Yeah, but I mean, we were able to see it before because we're on a big screen.
Okay. Well, I will go that route then. And I don't really have any notes in here anyway. So there you go. I'll stay with this screen so at least I can see what you guys are seeing. Okay. So now you see American Association of School Librarianship?
We sure do.
Okay, lovely. Well, I'm sorry for the pause there.
That's okay.
Yeah, because I was pushing, on my side, I'm pushing the presentation button from the beginning, the slides, and you're just not seeing what I'm seeing. So weird. Okay, so this is, if you have not visited, the American Association of Best Websites for Teaching and Learning. We are in our 7th year. This year we are going to be presenting sites 151 to 175. This past year we presented our best site up to 150. We do 25 sites every single year. And if you haven't visited our site lately, we've had a bit of an overhaul. We've had a bit of a shine put to it. And we have places you can nominate sites, as you can see here. If you have any websites that you love, that you've been using in your classrooms, that you have been using and you would love to nominate, we typically go through about 80 to 100 new sites every year. We start gathering sites in August. We finish gathering sites somewhere around February. Between January, February, and March is when we start whittling down our list, and by March and April is when we finish our list to the final 25, and then in April and May is when we put our presentation together, and then we present our presentation in June at ALA in whatever city it is, that ALA annual. This year will be in San Francisco. Last year was Las Vegas. I'm much more looking forward to San Francisco. I can tell you that right now. And so this is our nomination form. And then if you have not gotten a chance to see it lately, we also have a brand new database where you can actually go through and look at all of our past winners, the past 150 winners, and we have a usable, searchable database. Has anyone tried this out yet?
Sorry, I keep having to run up here and unmute the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Has anybody tried that out? Okay, they say no, but they're excited.
Yes, this is very useful. So for instance, if you would like to be able to search for all the sites that are in the category of digital storytelling, or if you'd like to be able to search for everything that starts with an A, or whatever the case may be, you can search for all of them specifically by category. This is a really useful tool. So in this way you can search for these, especially for things by categories, digital storytelling being one of our favorite areas. And the one problem with this is it is not very mobile friendly yet. We're working on that. But it works like a boss on any of your laptops, computers, or anything else. So in Best Websites, if you are familiar, we have 6 categories. We have media sharing, digital storytelling, managing and organizing, social networking and communication, content resources, and curriculum collaboration. So because I have spent so much time trying to get my screen to actually do something, me and Google Hangouts, I love it, but it's love and hate because sometimes it likes to give up on me or not quite play along. I'm going to jump right on in and share some of my favorite tools from the past, definitely 4 years. Our first 2 years, I have been with Best Websites since it got started. I have actually been with the committee for 6 years. I had to roll off for 1 year, and then they asked me to come back on as chair. I've been with the committee for 6 years. I've been chair of the committee for 3 years, and I'm actually rolling off of the committee this year. And one of my friends, Lucy Green, is taking over as the chair of the committee, so I'm very excited. If you are familiar with Shannon Miller is also on the committee with me, and we have been having a lot of fun gathering sites and going through these. We are down just about to the final 25. We're reviewing them right now. Right now we're at the cage match. I always joke, the cage match area where we're kind of fighting it out for the last 25, but it's actually been very calm this year. So I'm going to move right on into media sharing and tell you about some of my favorites. Typically this is where I take a poll of who's used what, but I'm just going to talk about them today just because I don't want Jennifer to have to run back and forth, and I also can't see you guys because I'm looking at my screen instead. So one of the first tools that I'm very fond of when it comes to Best Websites and in my own practice is Poplet. And Poplet is both an app as well as a website, and Poplet is a great concept mapping, information gathering tool where you can ask students information. You can put it all on a concept map together. You can gather information. You can ask questions at the beginning of class to find out what students know. You can use it as an exit ticket to find out what they learned in class. You can do objectives. I use it in professional development to gather all different types of ideas of what we may have learned. I just did a professional development workshop, and I was gathering what type of ideas folks in the professional development workshop had for professional development. So there's all different types of things you can do with Poplet, and it's a great tool to use for idea and information gathering. Plus, you can link anything into it. If it's linkable, video, pictures, images, anything online or documents, you can and put them all into a Poplet concept map. So I really am quite fond of Poplet. One of the next ones that I'm really keen on is ThingLink. And if you have not used ThingLink, this is a picture of me so that I could use it legally myself. ThingLink is a great tool to be able to use if you would like to have a level of augmented reality to images. And so what you see here is a picture of me in Chicago. And what you can't see at the top of this pole right here, this is the beginning of Route 66. And I'm actually wearing my Route 66 shirt because I'm a huge Route 66 fan, and I've actually driven most of it across the United States. And what I have here is actual links embedded into the image giving you information about Route 66. And so if you think about ThingLink, and it is both an app as well as a website, ThingLink gives you the opportunity to make pictures come alive. And ThingLink gives you the opportunity to be able to, so for instance right here I'm telling you about the Russian tea room. I think this one gives you a time-lapse 2-minute video about the Mother Road, Route 66. I think I've got another one embedded in here somewhere that tells you about Chicago. You've got all different types of things to bring pictures alive. So if you think about having a ThingLink image museum of your students can have pictures of themselves telling you about them. You could have an oral history project. There's pretty much the only thing that you are limited by with ThingLink is your imagination, as with many Web 2.0 tools. And personally, I think the app works just a tiny bit better than the actual website. It's just so easy. You take the picture, you go click, click, click. You embed where you want the different items to go, your little bullseyes there, and it's so easy to use. And I thoroughly enjoy it, really like it, and it's just a lot of fun. Now, the next two sites that I'm going to tell you about in media sharing both pretty much do the same thing. They just do them a little bit differently. And these are both word cloud creators. Now, word cloud creators, which is easier to think and read than it is to say out loud, I'm realizing. Word cloud creators, Wordle and Tagxedo, can be used for anything where you would like to collect words. You can do them for poetry. Students can create word clouds about themselves. Word clouds like Wordle are where you can gather words of all types. The more often they are repeated, the bigger they are. But the neat thing about Tagxedo is you can actually create word clouds into shapes. Here I did a voice bubble about librarians, but you can actually take a picture of students and they can create word clouds of themselves. They can create word clouds of their favorite books, of their favorite video games. It's a word cloud of whatever they might like, and you can have a whole bulletin board. The nice thing about either of these is now you can download them in JPEG, PNG, you can download them and put them into PowerPoints, into Prezis, into haiku decks. You can put them into anything that you wish, and so you don't even have to use the paper to print them. You can actually embed them into any type of online presentation that you might be interested in doing as well. So there's a lot of opportunities and things that you can do with this, and a lot of fun that you can have with them as you are thinking about ways that you might like to get creative with word clouds. So the next tool that I love and that you are looking at right now is called Haiku Deck, and you are looking at it. Haiku Deck is one of my very favorites. It is a presentation tool. If you have not gotten to use it, Haiku Deck actually started out as an app and then moved to being an online tool, and so that was kind of its natural progression. It was one of the few tools out there where you could create an entire presentation from a device, and then later they created an online option. The really nice thing about Haiku Deck is you can present online or offline, both for free. And this month, this very month, they have actually begun to offer their subscription-based tool called Haiku Deck Zuru. And Haiku Deck Zuru is going to be available in May for half price right now, and it's going to be $30 a month right now and I'm sorry, not $30 a month. I do apologize. I take that back. $30 a year right now $60 a year if you wait after their pre-sale. And Haiku Deck Zuru allows you to actually gather all your information, your outlines, put it into Zuru, and then Zuru will actually create your entire presentation for you, is what they claim. I myself have not gotten to play with it yet because it's not available yet. But I did just get an email 5 minutes before I got online with you guys with some examples of what Haiku Deck Zuru looks like. Regardless, though, Haiku Deck, the free version, is still majorly awesome. And Haiku Deck allows us to work with the Getty Museum to have access to millions of different images searchable through their database with the tool. You can put the images into your presentations, and then when you download your presentations to present offline, all of your images, and you can actually look at the bottom of my picture down here, all of my Creative Commons licenses are already attributed and loaded into all of my presentations immediately. I don't have to go and search for all of those. And I love that feature. I love having all of the pictures. I love having all of the images. I love having everything already there for me. So that is media sharing and some of my favorites from media sharing. Not to make Jennifer run up front, but does anyone have any quick questions about media sharing before I move over to digital storytelling?
You guys have any questions about that or about any of those tools? Okay, they're amazed. They're feverishly taking notes.
Okay, all right. Oh, and thank you for saying that. As you're feverishly taking notes, know that I have just loaded this entire presentation up onto SlideShare. I have just tweeted this out, and Jennifer, if you'd like, I can send this presentation to you as an email.
Awesome, and then I will link it to our resource page, so they'll know exactly where to go to get it.
Lovely. All right, so together, and you know, so much of my narration is in the item, but at least you'll have the list of tools.
Perfect.
Great. All right, moving on to pretty much everybody's big favorite, digital storytelling. I know we're biased because many of us are readers, librarians, things along those lines. So my very first one and my big favorite over the years, again and again and again, I keep going back to it, is Storybird. And if you've never used Storybird, Storybird lets us create stories based on the illustrations of well-known illustrators. And every month, every few months, more and more illustrations are loaded. My favorite ones are the creepy cuties. They're kind of these goth-looking little characters. And what happens is you go in and you choose your illustrations, and then they're loaded in, and then we or our students can write stories based on the illustrations. We can do stories, and now also available, we can also do poetry. The poetry is really cool because it's a lot like the fridge magnet poetry where you get the words and then you can pull the words down. And so that's really nice because say that you have students who just have sometimes issues with deciding on the words they want to use, or say that you have ELL or ESL students who just don't know the words yet or are just not quite sure, it gives them the words that they can already use. Or sometimes our students have trouble deciding what they want to write about, so the illustrations give them something to really kind of push them forward and to really kind of, you know, entice them in ways to write. I love Storybird. You can create an entire book. You can save it under one account that a teacher can set up, or you can do student accounts if you wish. You can share them for parent nights, book fair nights. You can have orientation type stuff. I just love these. You can share them on your library website, all different types of stuff, and a lot of fun. Plus, they're just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous because it's not us doing the illustrations, and students, there's other sites for students to do illustrations, but these are well-known illustrators putting these together. Another one of my favorite tools for digital storytelling is Inanimate Alice, and our students love graphic novels. And I have folks who tell me they have read Inanimate Alice, and I have folks who tell me that they have watched Inanimate Alice. And Inanimate Alice is an interactive digital graphic novel that, as it shows right here, has 4 different episodes, but now there are 5 different episodes. Every episode takes place in a different location. And this is a story of Alice, kind of set in a dystopian society. First chapter is Alice. Her father is missing. She is on the hunt for Alice. Alice is on the hunt for her father. And this is a story about Alice and all of her adventures. Now, the really nice thing about Inanimate Alice, if you look right here where it says languages, every story is available in about 6 different languages, if I remember correctly. We've got Italian, French, Spanish, Chinese, and I'm forgetting a couple of the others. So available in multiple languages. I have teachers who read these with their students, like Laura Fleming up in New Jersey, who does a lot with makerspaces. She started out doing a lot with Inanimate Alice. I also have a lot of folks who have their students read these on their own. It is also interactive because you can read these. You can also interact with Alice. You can see what she is seeing. You can see where she is going. You can take pictures with her handheld devices that she has in the story. You can see a map of her house, and you can move around through her house. Just all different types of stuff. It's really a lot of fun. And I really fought hard for Inanimate Alice to win a few years ago because I have been amazed by this tool. The next tool that I wanted to share with you is InkleWriter. And InkleWriter is a collaborative writing tool. And what I mean by that is where you can write your own interactive stories. And so you can go right here to where it says Start Writing. You can also see a video of how this works. This is a little small, and for that I do apologize. But the way this works is your students can write stories together, and the whole idea of InkleWriter is kind of the exquisite corpse idea, where one person starts a story, another person continues the story, somebody else continues the story, and adds on and adds on and adds on. That's the whole idea. And so what you can do is you can start the story, and then each person has a section over here. The teacher can make comments. You can make your stories public and other people can make comments, or you can take pieces of the stories and you can make your stories completely private. So you can decide if you want your classroom stories open or private, just for yourselves to read, for the public to read, have feedback, have other people add in, and have a more community collaborative story. It's up to you. If you don't like InkleWriter, but you like the idea of collaborative storytelling, well, then you can just take a look at this site, get the idea, maybe take a couple of ideas from writing prompts, and then you can just do your own in your classroom. So there's a whole lot of things you can just straight up steal from this. You know, you can just say, hey, I like that writing prompt, I like that idea, but I don't want to put it all online. And I understand that, especially if you're practicing for writing, if you're practicing for your students, things along those lines. Another tool that I'm really keen on is FlipSnack. And FlipSnack allows you to make beautiful flipping books, not flipping books, but flipping books. And this allows you to create a flipping book or a flippable book out of any PDF, JPEG, or a JPEG file. And what you can do is say that you had taken a large group of pictures, or you had created stories out of your student work. You can save them in an Adobe PDF, or you can save them as a JPEG from a Word document, and then you can create them into a flippable book with FlipSnack. Then you can save them, you can download them, or you can load them onto a website. And so this is really nice. I've actually had folks who've used this for book fairs. I've had folks who've actually sold students' works and had like a student magazine or a student newspaper. A lot of fun, and a lot of folks have had some really nice work. They also have a FlipSnack EDU account if you would like to go pro. So every tool that I'm showing you is free or free at some level. But oftentimes they do offer a pro or a subscription-based level, just in case you would like to be able to kick it up a notch or go further. And some of these, for instance, like InkleWriter and Inanimate Alice and Storybird, some of them are completely free. So it just kind of depends on what we're looking at. This is an example of what a book looks like in FlipSnack. This is one of my articles that I had written, and then when you click right here, it just flips the pages. You can create your own covers. You can choose what you would like, and then when you flip it, it actually makes a very satisfying paper noise. If you have not been involved with ICDL, which stands for the International Children's Digital Library, this is a completely free over 2,000 book digital library. This was created by the University of Maryland, College Park. And this particular database of books, they actually brought in a group of children to help them decide what the website would look like. It is an excellent, excellent app as well as online tool. And what they asked the children was, if you could choose books on a website, how would you do it? And the children said, well, I would pick books by cover colors. So if I want to pick a book that has a green cover, I can click on that. I would pick books by characters. So if I wanted a blue covered book that's about real animal characters, I can do that. I would pick books by age. So if I want a rainbow cover that's for 6 to 9-year-olds, I can do that. This series of books, you have over 2,000 books that also come in over 68 different languages. So if I want to find the books that are in Farsi, I can find it. If I want to find the amount of books that are in Spanish, there's many more, I can find it. What this does is this increases any library by over 2,000 books. You're not going to find Divergent here. You're not going to find Pete the Cat here. These are older books that they have digital rights to, but these are still full-colored story books. The only thing this site doesn't do is read the books to you, and it's well worth looking at, and the amount of languages that are available is amazing. So this is an oldie but a goodie. This guy won, oh gosh, I think this was 2009, and I still will sell this one like a encyclopedia salesman, not that those are really around anymore. I love this site and still stand behind it. All right, any questions about digital storytelling? I'm going to click on through to manage and organizing.
We do have a question, Heather.
Yes, ma'am.
On that ICDL, since
yes.
I guess you're saying it's common territory, can you link it onto your school website?
Yes, ma'am.
So that your Spanish people can get onto it if they want to or something.
Yes, you can always link it. You can link to it. Yes, it's open territory. So yes, you can have a link that is available for your students, and you are certainly able to do that. The folks at the College Park of Maryland want to be able to have this as open and available, and want these books to be as open and available to children everywhere as possible. I've actually presented down in Panama. And I took this down there to them so that they would have, they want this to be out there for people to be able to use.
Heather, can I say something about ICDL real quick? And you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the vast majority of books are, like picture books. They're children's books. But,
Indeed, yes.
But I found at a middle and high school level, for my ELL students
Yes.
who spoke very little English at all, there were many titles that were bilingual.
Yes.
And for those ELL teachers who oh my gosh, I just found a kid, I just have a new kid who's from Haiti,
Right.
and I don't know what to do for these first few days, or for whatever, it's a great resource for those kids, even at a middle and high school level.
I cannot say enough good stuff about ICDL and what it has been able to do to help us with exactly what you're saying, because a child may be 18 years old. That doesn't mean they know English. Some of them can barely even read in their own languages. So to be able to have a book in both where they can compare, because they do have many of the books in both languages, it is amazing to be able to have this tool available to us completely free to be able to use.
Yeah.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. All right. So let me tell you about some managing and organizing tools. The first one, not to be confused with Poplet, though heaven knows I'll pretty much twist these two around anytime I get, is Padlet. And Padlet is not that different from Poplet, but it is essentially a blank wall, an online cork board, an online announcement board. If you want to get real sassy with it, you can do stuff like this where you can put a background, you can gather in information. It is very much a bulletin board. It's where you can pin things up, you can gather everyone's information, but it gives different shapes. Some people like circles, some people like squares. Again, you can link in information from documents, you can put up pictures, you can pull folks' information in, you can make a big online bulletin board, in other words. A lot of fun. People like to sometimes put up their Common Core. They sometimes like to put up their classroom objectives. Sometimes they'll shove each class's objectives over to the side and then have a daily student who moves that particular class's objectives over so that they can have them up on their Padlet wall. I've had folks who've done all sorts of things for this one. Another one that is an oldie but a goodie, but has been keeping up with the times, and I do appreciate this, is Live Binders. Live Binders lets us gather a large amount of information into one location with an online digital notebook. Another tool that is similar to this that I don't have listed here today is Alchemy Learning. That's A-L-C-H-E-M-Y. I think I'm spelling that right, Learning. So Alchemy Learning. And Alchemy Learning is another digital notebook tool, more than likely tipping their hat at Live Binders. Alchemy Learning, though, lets us also insert videos, linking in all different types of tools to go with what we are teaching our students. So together, you've got two different online tools that let you create online digital notebooks. And the nice thing about both of these is it's that 3-ring binder where you can actually do digitally, and it's a bookmarking tool essentially, where you can create online tabs, you can put in PDFs, you can put in websites, you can put in infographics, you can do whatever you want, but you can do it all here in one spot, and then you can share that link with your students. You can put it online, you can link it and send it out. I've used this for professional development where I've kept a Live Binders open and then everyone can add to it. I've done all sorts of things. I'm going to kind of move on because that one was a short category. I'm going to share a couple from social networking here. Two of my favorites that are wicked popular that essentially do the same thing, they just do it a little bit differently, is Socrative and Kahoot. Socrative, I just found out today. You couldn't get this information any fresher. Just to let you know what Socrative is. Socrative is a student response system that is absolutely device agnostic. What do I mean by that? That means that no matter what sort of tool you are using, whether it's a phone, whether a smartphone, flip phones don't work sadly, it has to be something that goes online, but whether it is a smartphone, a device, a laptop, or a computer in a computer lab, your students can give you responses to the questions that you have created. And you can create multiple choice, true, false, short answer, quick quiz. You can do exit tickets at the end of class, or your students can compete in a space race. The only person that needs to actually create an account is a teacher, and the students log into your room. Very similarly, and another big favorite is Kahoot, which is a little bit more game-based, and I'm sure you're very familiar with Kahoot because it seems everybody, everywhere I go, knows Kahoot. But if you have not tried Kahoot, a lot of fun. Again, you can do multiple choice, you can do surveys, you can ask all different types of questions. Again, device agnostic, where you can use this tool to gain student responses. It is a little more gamey. Not like the meat, but a little more like competitive. You can take the competitiveness out of it if you wish, though. Excuse me, sorry. Getting a little choked up. I love Kahoot. Anyway. But both of these allow you to get that student response. Kahoot, you can put in the countdown time part. You can see who answered you first. You can have a point system. You can do all sorts of things. Now with Socrative, I just found out today that Socrative is going to have a brand new version. They are releasing, I believe, next week, and it is going to be called Snowy. And Socrative Snowy is going to look a lot like, I'll be real honest, Kahoot, where it's a little more user-friendly, a little easier to put your questions in, which I'm sorry, Socrative was always pretty easy, but they're making it even more user-friendly. So that's great. And so look for that because Snowy will be coming out really soon. But they are both very much, I'll be real honest, in competition with each other. And they want people to use them, of course. And they're really making sure that people know how to use them and use them for their classes and with their students. I use them for professional development and in conferences, and I know that I'm pretty sure Jennifer does, and I just saw Jennifer and Gwyneth presenting in South Carolina the other week, and I know Gwyneth was using hers in one of her conference presentations. And then my last category that I'm going to talk about today before I show you a couple of new sites is content collaboration. And one of my very favorite sites, oh no, I lied. I got one other category. I'm sorry, didn't mean to lie. One of my very favorite sites is Wonderopolis. And their entire idea is, what do you wonder? What do your students wonder? And for this particular day, the question of the day was, why don't you have to trim your eyelashes? But there's every day there's a new wonder, and your students can find out about their wonders. If their wonder has not been published, they can actually send in their wonder and get it answered. And every day there's a new wonder, complete with facts, complete with information, videos, all sorts of stuff. It is a wonderful site. These folks have a true heart for learning. The day that they won Best Websites in 2013, they released their 1,000th wonder. I think they were holding out a little bit so that they could make sure they released that on the same day. But these are just wonderful folks, and they've got fantastic information, and you can also explore their wonders. And the last category I was going to tell you about is content resources. I have two in this category, and one of them is History Pen. If you have not had a chance to explore History Pen is a wonderful tool to use in your history, social studies, world history classes, but it's also excellent for science, literature, because the entire idea with History Pen is to create a visual ethnography of images all across the world. So if I went up here in the search box and I typed in Raleigh, North Carolina, or if I typed in Fayetteville, North Carolina, or I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina, this would actually show me all of the historical photos of those areas that people have put in to History Pen. And so we could actually compare what things look like before and after during this particular time. Also, if you want to think about an oral history project, a historical project of your area, your students could gather pictures of the area and they could actually do their own history project and load them in to History Pen. So you can go right up here, you can add photos, you can write stories. You can interview grandparents, parents, you can interview all different types of folks, and you can add those into History Pen. It is a wonderful ethnographic project, and I just love it. I'm an ethnographic and a qualitative researcher, and I'm very fond of History Pen. Another great tool is the Media History Digital Library. And if you haven't gotten a chance to play with this, it is amazing. This is full PDFs of magazines from 1911 to 1963, and there's a large selection of over 50 years worth of magazines, photoplay, entertainment, American cinematographer, all different types of things. And you can go in and you can actually look at, say that you were reading The Great Gatsby, you can actually look at the costumes, advertisements, the cars, all different types of things that were actually available in and being used at that time legitimately from the magazines in full at that time. You have a search box. One thing I do recommend, especially for our younger readers, some of these magazines do have some nudity in them because they were history of photographic innovations, variety, even photoplay. So you might want to go through any of the magazines that you plan to use, download them, or use the links and maybe make a bookmark of the links, because I have been warned there are some scantily clad ladies or some artistic endeavors with nudes in here, so I don't want to surprise anyone. That's all I want to say. So before I move to my few extra, do I have any questions about anything I've shared so far?
Any questions, guys, so far? Okay.
All right. So I'm going to share just a few extra with you before I finish up today. Now, I am not confirming, nor am I denying that any of these are winners. As I said, these are, well, they're all winners in our book, but I'm not saying these are part of the top 25 coming for 2015. These are some that we have perused, and personally, these are a few of my favorite, but also the best websites for teaching and learning is not Heather Moorefield-Lang's list. In fact, I work really, really hard to actually not vote for any one site. Every now and then I have a favorite. But in general, I try to make sure that my committee is the one who makes the decisions. But every now and then I'll put my hat in for one. So one of the sites that I'm very keen on, but it does have ads, so I will warn you about this, is 60-Second Recap, which last week when I was keynoting I called it recrap, so excuse me. But 60-Second Recap, that's a hard title to say, is an entire, we all love book talks, and this is an entire site of book talks. Your students can add their own book talks, or you can listen to book talks from the library. Continuously new book talks are being added. A lot of them are classic literature, as you can see right here, but there are other books in there. I know Fault in Our Stars is in there. I don't think the Divergent series is in there, but Hunger Games is. So there's different ones. You just have to look. There is a pick of the week. There's Club Recap. There's the library, so you can look and see. But she, and when I say she, this lady right here, she actually has, I think her name's Jenny. She has a green screen and a fever for reading, and so she will tell you all about books. She will break down Romeo and Juliet act by act for your students, and it's a great short recap of any type of book that's out there, especially literature. Really good for your lit classes and for your reading classes, and she's just really exciting and really interesting, and it's a lot of fun. Plus they're really short videos, and you know, it can kind of get what you're about to read in class, or maybe what you've just read in class, going. And I really, really enjoy this site a lot. Another tool that I'm really keen on is TAC. And with TAC, I'm going to just leave that alone. TAC is a ridiculously simple way to create websites, emails, all of those types of things. And I'm really keen on TAC, thoroughly enjoy it. And TAC is a tool that we have used multiple times to make kind of one-page websites, flyers. I've made multiple flyers with it, but it's very drop, drag, lots of images, just really easy kind of desktop publishing. So something that is really fun and really easy and simple to use. So this is all of my contact information, and I will go back to that screen in just a moment. But one thing I did want to tell you about is my YouTube channel, and this is Tech 15. On Tech 15 on YouTube, I actually have over 50 different videos of 5 minutes, one of them 7 I see, but short videos about how to use technology in education. They are all closed caption. They are all quick and easy. They are embeddable. They're ready to share. You can put any of them on your library websites. You can do pretty much whatever you want with them because that's what I made them for. But they are all ready, available, easy for you to use, and they are HTML5, they are MP4, they are cross-device. I have made them accessible in all ways, shapes, or forms that I can even remotely think of. And I'm trying to make a new video every week. So this week is Answer Garden. I'm also trying to put one up for Kahoot, especially since I've already done one for Socrative, so I felt I needed to tip for both sides. I'm kind of doing a bunch of polling ones right now, but I wanted to let you know that this is available and it's out there. So if you're looking for short, quick, easy ways to share professional development with your teachers, with your peers, or just to share a quick how-to about Wonderopolis or whatever, it's out there for you to use. And I love sharing information about technology, so it's a lot of fun to make these. So here is my contact information, and I know Jennifer's going to be sharing this presentation as well. And if you have any questions, I will go back to my screen where I can actually see you guys.
Thank you, Heather. That was great. There's so much information. We got a lot to take back. Do you guys have any questions for Heather before we let her go?
I'm back now. Sorry for the snafu with my PowerPoint. I don't.
Oh, it didn't matter. We were fine, didn't we? Yeah, it was perfect. It was no problem at all. So thank you. I think they are a little maybe overwhelmed right now because there's so much stuff.
I'm sorry. I try not to do that to people. I give my disclaimer that I give to everybody. I try to give folks options and choices, but know that, if there's something that you're interested, pick 1 or 2. You don't want to pick 20 because you're going to just confuse yourself and you're going to drive people insane. Find one thing that you're interested in and go with that, or none. I mean, it's up to you. I share this stuff because it's fun and it's exciting and it's interesting, but, it's, you want to see what's out there and what's interesting and what's exciting and maybe play around with some things, and then many things do the exact same job. You don't need Wordle and Tagxedo. Pick one. You don't need Socrative and Kahoot, though people do them both. So it's the kind of thing where if you're interested in doing something, pick one and then move on after you've chosen that one.
Well, thank you, Heather. We really, really appreciate it, and we're just going to say thank you. This is great. We really appreciate it. Woo-hoo-hoo. And I hope I can maybe get you to do it again next year.
Sure. Just let me know. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to stop the